First guest was the National Player of the Year last time BYU was in the Sweet 16 in 2011. He remains second all-time in program history in scoring. Will soon have his jersey hanging retired and in the rafters at the Marriott Center. Our pleasure to welcome back Jimmer Fredette to the Wise Guys on a big Monday. Hey, Jimmer, it's good to see you.
What's up, guys? How are you?
We're doing good. So we saw a lot of you on TV on Saturday night. We almost saw as much of the players on the floor as we saw of you sitting in the stands. So CBS knew right where you were, and of course at Whitney and the kids. But what did it feel like to be there and watch the Cougars get back to the Sweet 16, which they hadn't been able to do since you were there?
Unbelievable. Just such a cool experience to be back in that building. It's the first time that I've seen an NCAA game, tournament game live from a fan standpoint. So be able to watch that and feel the energy and understand what people were feeling kind of when we were there was really, really cool experience. Like, there was so much energy in the building. It was packed both games. Obviously, BYU fans did an amazing job of showing up and being loud and enjoying their time. So that was amazing. But just walking through the arena, the amount of people that stopped me, not just BYU fans, but Wisconsin fans, Michigan fans, VCU fans, that were just like, hey, we appreciate the run and we loved what you guys did back in that season, and asked for pictures and autographs and those types of things. That was special. People really loved that time, and it was definitely something that we'll never forget as basketball players. And these guys are going through the same thing now, right? They're not going to forget this. They've had such an incredible run so far, and they obviously have more to go. But what a cool reminiscent experience to be able to do it again in Denver. So.
Well, that last play with Tanji, when he passed on the three and went down to try a baseline shot, and Mag was there and defended him and ended the game. You shoot that three, don't you? As you looked at that replay?
I shoot it for sure. Yeah, if there was any opening and at the top, when you get down there, it's hard because at the end of the game, they may not call foul. There's a lot of trees down there that can block shots, and Mag's obviously long and athletic, and then you got Cabo behind him, and you know what I mean? Just trying to get to the rim at that point is something that's definitely difficult. I thought he was going to shoot it.
Yeah.
For me at that time frame, you're giving him the ball and you're saying, hey, shoot the best shot available, right? Like, whether it's a three, whether it's a two, whatever it is, you're taking the best shot that's available. And I felt like that three probably was the best shot that was available. I just felt like he was like, man, I think I can get downhill and I can get fouled because I've been getting fouled all game. And, obviously it didn't happen. Mag did an unbelievable job, balling up and being able to create a difficult shot.
Do you think the pressure got to him in that moment? Because that looked horrible to me.
I think that he had a preconceived notion of that he was going to drive the basketball. That's kind of what it looked like to me. It wasn't necessarily, I'm nervous because he was great throughout the game, right? He was hitting big shot after big shot. I think it was more, I need to get downhill because I feel like that's going to give me the best opportunity to get to the free throw line or be able to score a basket. So I think he had it in his head before, whereas, as a scorer, such a talented scorer as he is, it's again, trying to take what the defense gives you and then trusting in your ability to make that shot. Because, that's one of the biggest things. It's about, you can always take the shot, but do you believe you're going to make the shot? Mm-hmm. And at that point, he felt like it was better for him to get downhill, and he felt like that was going to be a better shot for him.
Jimmer, take us back in time. What does it feel like to be able to go to the Sweet 16? And then when you stepped on that floor in New Orleans against Florida for the region final, what are those emotions like for a player?
Yeah, it's very emotional. You have so much adrenaline. You're so amped and ready to play. The thing about, you play the first round and then a day later, you have one day in between, then you play again. And that's not as bad because you're kind of recovering that first day, and you're like, all right, I need to get my body healthy. And then all of a sudden you're back in playing again, which is a good rhythm to be in. Whereas now you're waiting for 4 or 5 days. So now, you're waiting on your opponent who you're going to play. And now you're just sitting there and people are talking about the game and people are hyping the game up, and it's a Sweet 16 and it's the biggest thing in sports. and you think it, you feel it. There's no escaping it, especially now, even more so with social media and
Yeah.
everything that goes on. So it's one of those things where you just have to try to continue your routine. When you get to the game, make sure that you are talking to your coaching staff, you're talking to the media members and saying, hey, listen, this is what I want to do to get prepared for the game. And if someone asks me to do something outside of that, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to sometimes say that, but it's just the way that it needs to be. Trying to give my best advice to our team, and I'm sure the coaching staff will do a really good job of being able to handle that with Kevin Young's experience of being in media with the NBA Finals and the playoffs and all that stuff that comes with it. So being able to shed that light, but that's the best thing you can do, and then just get prepared for the game.
In that Florida game, was it the first shot or the third shot? When did your heart rate come back down to normal?
Yeah, no, it takes a few minutes for sure.
Yeah.
I always tell guys the best thing you can do is try to sprint as hard as you can that first couple of minutes and get out that first wind, right? Like because you want to get to that second wind as quickly as you can. When you get to the second wind, you're usually calmed down a little bit more. You get through that first adrenaline boost. So if you can run as fast as you can in warm-ups and in the beginning of the game and really get that heart going as quickly as you can, then it usually starts to come down. So usually for me, first 2 minutes could have been four shots. You know what I mean? Who knows? But it's one of those things. So it's as quickly as you can, try to get it down.
Yeah, in football, we always say go and try to either hit somebody as hard as you can, or try to actually get hit as hard as you can as well. So,
Yep.
I think Taysom has said that. Taysom doesn't mind getting dinged.
Yeah,
Now we know he's in a football game.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Jimmer, when you look at your run and just a lot of the teams that make it deep, there are certain pieces on the team, like a big or somebody that's a defender or a shooter. When you look at this team, what do you think those key pieces are of why they've been able to be so successful so far?
Yeah, they've had a great mix of guys. I mean, I think Cavo's been massive, him and Mag for the defensive end. Those guys have played great defense all year. You could put Mag on pretty much anybody and say, hey, listen, you're going to guard him and you're going to kind of try to shut him down. And he's going to take that, seriously and take that responsibility on. And then Kaba being able to kind of clean everything up. I think that's allowed guys like Richie and Dawson and Richie's a good defender himself. He's long, he's athletic. But he extends a lot of energy on the offensive end because he's their main scorer. So you got to have guys that are focused in fully on defense, and those guys have done a really good job of doing that. And Mag has done a good job of hitting threes too when he's been open. So I mean, I think those guys have been really key to being good defensively and then letting the other guys kind of do what they do on the offensive end. Richie's been incredible. He's been the most consistent player all year. Foose gives him a big lift, being able to come off the bench and be able to score as good as he can. And then Dallin just gives them a secondary ball handler. Like a lot of teams are pressuring Yegor, and sometimes that's been tough on him. With these smaller guys that are kind of getting into him, and he's having to deal with that full court pressure. And then with Dallin, he's able to just kind of give him the ball and say, hey, you take it for a while. And that's been huge because he's steady-handed with that basketball most of the time, and having that secondary ball handler has been really, really key for this team.
A few more minutes with BYU legend Jimmer Fredette on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, distributed by the Deseret News. Just to continue on that theme, there was a video of Dawson Baker in the locker room watching the final play after being booted from the game, and I think you've seen that. Everyone seemed to have seen that. And Weston has a question. Jimmer, what did you think of the video of Baker watching that final play in the locker room, and what did it tell you about this tightness this team has?
Yeah, I mean, it was an awesome video, right? Like everyone felt the emotion of what Dawson was feeling at that time. Obviously, it was very difficult for him to have to leave the game and be able to just sit there and watch by himself, literally sitting there in there by himself, watching that game and just hoping that they're going to pull that out. And he probably felt better, when he first went in there and had a 10-point lead or whatever it was. And then at the end of the game, he's seeing them shoot a game tying or game winning shot. And he was us at that point. He was a spectator. Yeah. And it's not easy to do, especially when you have so much on the line. And and put so much into the season. So my heart goes out to him, and I feel really, really good that they were able to pull that game off and be able to see his emotion, and being able to just feel that relief of, man, thank you for winning that for me so that I can get back on the court. And yeah, that's a tight knit group for sure. They're definitely guys that are playing for each other, and don't really care who's getting the accolades at that point. They're just playing to try to win.
Alabama likes to get up the floor, just like BYU. This would be your kind of game, right? If we're going to shoot as fast as we can. What are your 3 keys for BYU to win Thursday night?
We've got to limit turnovers. I think that's a huge key. Making sure that we're getting as many shots off as Alabama does. So I think that's going to be good. We can't let them get on the offensive glass. I think that's something. They're super athletic. They crash the glass. They're shooting a lot of shots from the outside. There's going to be a lot of long rebounds. Being able to make sure that we're doing a good job there, and then I think making sure that we're getting to the free throw line and hitting our free throws efficiently. I think that's something that's good for us to be able to do. We've been hitting our free throws as of lately, which has been key. With Wisconsin, they didn't hit their free throws, and we did, and that was the difference in the game. So we got to continue that, making sure that we're hitting free throws. Even Cabo was getting in the mix and hitting some free throws. But if we can get to the free throw line, slow the game down a little bit every once in a while, making sure that we're getting there, I think that'll be helpful for us.
Those are the keys to victory from the great Jimmer Fredette. Where would you have fit in this Kevin Young offense? Would this work for you, or you needed the ball at the top of the key and then you just created and became National Player of the Year? How would this work?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely. I was definitely better, have been my whole career with the ball in my hands for sure. But I think he gives the point guards a lot of autonomy to be able to go out and make a play. It's not necessarily, you have to score every time, but there's a lot of high screen and roll situations. So I think I would thrive in that type of system. That's kind of what I like to do, is being able to get the ball and get a high ball screen and then just play off of it, right? So it's a very NBA type system. So when you get that type of rain, you feel comfortable. You have the ball in your hands a lot, and then you can get off of it, and there's a lot of movement and that type of thing. But it's more about feeling the ball in your hand, and then if you get off of it and get it back, that's great. No problems with that. But for me, if I was to just kind of sit and stand in the corner, that's a little different.
You sent Jackson down to the corner. You send those guys down to the corner, didn't you?
Jackson can stand there all day. Stand there all day. He'd be fine with it. So yeah, that's how it works. But yeah, I it's an awesome system. Obviously, you see how well these guys are playing for it. And it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Let's finish with this. Shout out to Glens Falls High School. What did your former school just do?
Man, I don't know what is going on up there. It's incredible. They just won their 54th game in a row.
What? How many did you win? What was your longest streak?
Mine was probably 30. I think we were like 30-0 at some point. We were pretty good. We lost in the state final championship game, which was a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
But we were good. Like, we were really good. We never won a state championship, but I mean, we were, we lost 2 games a year maybe when I was there for, the 4 years that I was there. We didn't lose very much. And then Joe Girard came through. Yeah. And Girard, who went to Syracuse and Clemson, they won 2 state championships when he was there a couple years back, and they won football championships as well. And now this team has won 54 in a row, won 2 state championships in a row. They've won the football championship a couple years ago again.
Jeez.
I'm not really sure what's going on with the Glens Falls Indians, or I guess they're the Black Bears now. It's unbelievable. They're putting something in the water, and they are just growing these kids. And they're building a program. It's been really fun to see from a town of 14,000 people to be able to them kind of dominating this sport. And
Jimmer, you know what it is? It's called NIL. Something that you and I didn't experience.
Really? You're doing Glens Falls NIL? Is that what you're doing below?
NIL is, people don't understand that NIL can happen in high school.
Yeah,
too.
It can.
So
I don't know if it's in Glens Falls, New York.
It definitely can. It's not. I'm going to say right now, it's not in Glens Falls. I don't think anybody has anything. But they are blue collar, and they play hard, and that's what I love about it.
Look, the Black Bears. You put the Black Bears on the map, and then getting to the Sweet 16 and winning National Player of the Year kind of restored BYU to the map. and now this group's back in the Sweet 16, which is an extension of what you've done. So we love your willingness to come on the show and talk about it. And are you going back?
I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out still. I hope to be able to. My son's birthday is this week too, so there's things going on. But if I can, I will absolutely make it. Regardless, I'm going to be cheering hard and can't wait.
All right,
so
Jimmer.
Thanks for guys. It's always fun to be with you guys.
Great to see you. Thank you. Jimmer Fredette, live from Denver.